Oh, no, he didn't.
Girl, yes, he did.
Hello, girlfriend. How you be?
Good.
You seem a little low energy today.
I know I do have a slight headache, and I was just thinking I should have taken something, but it's cool.
I know you definitely need to take something before you start a podcast, because most people talk about is anxiety producing.
Right. Oh my God.
There's
a lot of news out there that make you anxious too. It's just too much.
You know, I don't watch the news. I hadn't watched the news since I did the news, so I wouldn't know. I don't have them kind of problems.
No, I'm not watching the news. This is all on my Facebook feed. You can't ignore it.
That too. I told you, get on TikTok, girl. It's pretty mindless. Pretty mindless. But anyway, welcome to another episode of Oh No Girl Yes. Make sure if you are listening that you know now that you can see this episode, exact same thing on YouTube or by going to our Facebook page, Oh No Girl Yes. Make sure you click subscribe to all of our channels, which are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. So we have an interesting topic this week. I'm excited about this topic this week, and we are excited to hear everyone's feedback on this topic because this is something that's so different for everyone, and I'm pretty sure everyone, if you don't have an opinion, it's because you just never thought about it. But once you do think about it, I think you'll get an opinion.
Right.
So I shared with you the other day that an ex-boyfriend of mine from 17 plus years ago has kind of resurfaced, but he kind of does it every year because his mom lives in the state that I live in. And so when he comes to visit his mom, he generally will ask, can he come by and see me? And the last few times we've had pleasant interactions. I had been holding some resentment and anger towards him based on the fact that he cheated on me when we were together 17 years ago. Mm-hmm. Also 17 years ago, we were both, late 20s, I'm like all the way grown up now. So I was saying to you, and I said, hey, I think this should be a podcast topic, is this idea of when you're younger, when you have challenges with somebody you're dating, there is always this idea of, I can do better than this. Well, I've kind of reached a point in life and in my dating career where I'm wondering, can I do better than him? Or is that, he might be the best I'm going to be able to do. He's a nice guy. He's handsome. He's successful. He takes care of, you know what I'm saying? It was our only issue we ever had was 17 years ago. He cheated on me.
And that's what you were holding against him all this time.
Oh, yeah. Like Aunt Viv, Janet Hubert against Will Smith kind of angst. Yeah. And I realized that recently I wanted to release it. First of all, last year when we kind of reconnected, he still was denying that he did it. So that was still causing me.
And I remember, I felt like even in that, you were in a space then, I feel like last year you might have been in a space to receive him better. After you had the conversation, if he had reacted in a way that was remorseful or at least even acknowledging, you don't have to be remorseful about everything you did 20 years ago, you know what I mean? But acknowledge that you did it. And that was where y'all had a disconnect at that point.
Right, a disconnect, and I had a block, because I felt like, well, dang, if you would still lie about something from 17 years ago, how can I take anything you say as authentic right now? Because you're still trying to build it on a non-truth.
Right.
We can't undo it. We can't change it. But yes, I feel like if he had said, I am so sorry, I was dumb, I'd be like, okay, cool. That's the answer. But the fact that he kept saying he didn't do it as of last year was driving me insane.
Yeah.
And so we did not pursue a following up. So recently, I saw him again. He came to visit his mom. And again, it was a visit. And this time I had no anger against him. So I was just excited for myself that means I've released that. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's good for me, because when you are holding those grudges and bad feelings against somebody, that really affects you more than it affects them, because they don't care no how. That's how they ended up in the place in the first place. They don't care like that.
Right.
So just in seeing him this time, I felt better. I felt lighter. Mm-hmm. And I felt like he wasn't the worst thing I ever seen in my life. I felt like, oh, okay, I don't hate him anymore. Because again, last year he did admit it, but it was after I had to make a fool out of him. Then he admitted it. So I've released it. So that's why I asked you. I said, listen, 17 years ago, I could do better than that. I don't know that I can today. And this is not in the thought of settling at all. Mm-hmm.
So explain the difference between what you're thinking and then what we think settling is.
Right. Settling is, I don't like this. I don't want this. This is not okay. But, oh, well, I just don't want to be by myself. It's not that. It's based on, hey, he was a great guy then. Now, the other thing is he's a different person than he was then. I'm a different person than I was then. So I don't even know that I would even like him like that right now. I'm just saying to get the initial blocks out the way. And what I was talking to you about, or wanted to talk to you about, is with us being in different places in our lives, you still wanting to get married and have kids, me not wanting to get married and have kids, different things are not as important as they used to be.
Right.
So things that were deal breakers when I was 28, 29 years old aren't even on the list at 45.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, that still goes to, you have certain standards still, but I agree that things that I thought I wanted, 10 years ago versus now are not as important. I used to not want to be with someone who was divorced, just because I felt like I was getting second dibs.
Right.
And that's no shade to anybody who's been divorced and being married again, but I had to grow into that. I had to realize.
And you almost have a preference that they've been through it and have learned something.
And maybe have learned something from it. So yeah. And then there's also, I was about to bring up the religious aspect, but that really never really deterred me from thinking that way. So that's not even important.
But I'm saying, but even without it saying that it has already happened, I'm realizing at 45, things that are important or were important are not as important because I'm not looking to even necessarily cohabitate with this person ever.
Right.
I'm not looking to have a legal bond with this person necessarily. I'm not looking to have children.
Right. That's where our difference would be at this point, because like where you would probably meet someone who doesn't want to have children and be totally fine with that.
A preference.
Right up your alley.
Right.
I would meet someone, I'm still in the point where I'm like, okay, I need you to at least want to have them. Like, no, I'm not saying we have to have them, but be open to the possibility of that. That's still a limitation I have on that part. But going back to the original thought of, can I do better? Do you think we think we deserve more than we should?
No. No.
You were so upset by that question.
This is what I have grown to learn to know. You know how when you say do better, this is what, and I mean, it's funny because I've been having this internal conversation with myself since I saw him. It's not about doing better, because better for me is my life alone. We're talking about in the realm of companionship.
Yeah.
Would I be able to find a better companion? Someone that has known me for a very long time, someone who we have a basis, even though we're not those people anymore, but we have a basis to build on, Well,
that's kind of where that question stems from. I'm not saying nothing about what we deserve. I'm saying, but like as far as companionship and stuff like that, do we expect more on the level, not perfection, but something close to it? Are we are we setting ourselves up to expect more than we should?
Well, this is why I still say no, especially for us. Because our standards of expectations are still tragically low in the big picture. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, I would want him to call. Oh, I would want him to make plans for us. Oh, I would like for him to show up past 1 week. Oh, I feel like the things that we have as standards in our mind that aren't being met are, oh, I sent him my phone number, maybe he will call. So no, I'm not expecting or looking for too much. I'm not being unrealistic in my expectation, but I realize in my personal experience, I'm thinking about people that I have tried to give passes to who haven't even shown up as much or consistently as this dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, look, we don't have to date. Okay, I know you're emotionally unavailable. Let's just go have fun. To where I'm holding him to a different standard than somebody who they ain't even held to no standards, if that makes sense. So that's the conversation I've been having with myself is, okay, if 20 years ago, this person treated you a certain kind of way, and you know what, let me be clear. It wasn't that he treated me badly. Whenever we broke up, the way I described it to people, they were like, what happened to y'all? I said, we had a good relationship until we didn't. I was never treated badly. I was not, I found out after the fact. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like I was constantly in a bad situation, but he was lying and sneaking and doing stuff that I didn't know about. Mm-hmm. So, some people be knowing about it and then just still be sitting there. And so I didn't go through that. I went through it after the fact. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to figure out, in him being here and him being someone that can just show up to my house after I haven't seen him for a year, but we dated 17 years ago, and to be able to have a healthy conversation, relax, calm, even allow him, in my house. My dogs don't even bark at him. I don't know if I told you that, because they bark at you. Didn't bark at him not once. Little things like that.
Well, your dogs are fast. Your dogs are fast, and they like men, and that's just the bottom line.
That felt like a judgment.
Especially their little belly.
I'll let them know how you feel. But it's that thing of, am I going to do better than him? Not like in a settling way, but we were sitting out on my deck, just talking. And there were certain moments that I was thinking, would I be able to do better than him? And not saying that he's bad. I'm just like, at some point though, you have to say, so this is the example I give. This is the example, because I was actually talking to my mom about this, and she appreciated the example better than this initial conversation. I said, if you watch a show like House Hunters or whatever, those couples or those people on that show have probably looked at 1,000 houses before they narrow it down to 3. Mm-hmm. And even at the end of the show, they show that every house don't have everything that was on their wish list. It might be location, it might be price, it might be number of rooms. But they pick a house and they live happily ever after in it. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing.
I think marriage is the same thing. And we say that all the time. You're not going to get everything you want from a spouse or in a relationship anyway. You're not going to get everything.
But that's what I'm saying about the everything you want. I'm saying I need to be realistic about what it is I even want. I don't want everything anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And it's things that, obviously you have whatever you want. You can't have whatever you want, but you can purpose your mind to say, okay, this is what I want, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, nobody's going to check off every list of whatever it is. Oh, he didn't cheat on me, so let me put him over here in this pile. If he cheated on me, so I'm gonna put him, you know what I mean? Everybody's gonna have their flaws. And if we're talking about this specific situation, because it may vary from situation to situation, but if we're talking about this one specifically, I say, if there was nothing else other than that incident 17 years ago, however many years ago it was, then I would be totally open to giving it another shot if that was where it led.
I feel like the way sometimes when you say 17 years ago and earlier you said 20 years ago, it almost feels like you feel like I'm being petty, and since you're Queen Petty, I take kind of offense to it.
Yeah, I keep throwing out the number because it was a long time ago.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I was picking up on that. Okay, I didn't know if it was Zoom was kind of changing
the
way you meant it.
Well, that was intentional. It was intentional.
Okay. I got it. Thank you for that. It was received. And that's the thing that I've been telling myself. That's why I said I didn't want to be the first Aunt Viv. And when I say that, I mean Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Unfortunately, they say light-skinned, dark-skinned Aunt Viv, but I say Aunt Viv number 1. Mm-hmm. And for whatever situation happened that she ended up off that show, she will tell you all of her hate and anger about it today. Mm-hmm. And that was over 20 years ago. And as an actress in that industry, in that business, people get recast, fired. But I think her son had some troubles and she blamed Will Smith for her son's trouble. It's so unhealthy. So in watching her, and I will even say Molly from Insecure. Sometimes I'll watch her behavior and you kind of see some of your Mollyisms and you're like, oh, I don't want to be that person. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be that person.
I honestly think that's what makes a lot of people angry while they're looking at her, because a lot of times you look at somebody and you see yourself in it and you're like, dang.
Why you doing
and it makes you even more upset about something that really
is. It's not to change the subject and veer off, but Molly, if you watch Insecure on HBO, Molly has a habit of letting her emotions ruin a moment. And taking a step back, I'm not pro Molly ever. But I say that most of the time she has valid points in why she feels the way she feels. She always has horrible delivery and timing. Her timing and delivery is always wrong.
Yeah, there's nothing that separates Molly from any other human for feeling emotions and having an opinion about everything that happens to them, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Whether it's good or bad. There's nothing that separates her from other people. It's how
it's a difference. It's like we were saying with social media. If everything you consume on social media, if you reacted to it, you'd be somewhere going, your anxiety levels will be whatever. You have to pick and choose what you allow to get a rise out of you.
Right. And it's how you react. That's what separates us from other people. how we react to different situations.
And that's maturity. So to get back on the topic, I want to be a mature person. Right. I want to be an emotionally mature person. And I do believe that situation 17 years ago should not be the basis of conversation today. I agree with that 100%. Now, but again, it took him finally admitting it for me to do that. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm in a space of not settling and not saying, oh, well, ain't nobody else trying to talk to me. Not that either, because I don't care like that, because I actually like, my own company. But as far as him as being an actual man, am I going to be able to do better than him? Not settle for him, but say, hey, he's a good man. He has grown a lot in the past 20 years. Why, if I met him today, would I be interested in dating him? And beyond saying if I met him today, would I be interested in dating him? I can't even meet nobody today to be interested in dating. So
we talked about that last week if you haven't caught up yet.
Right. I can't even meet somebody today. So if there's a person that you could be interested in, is it worth exploring? Not saying we would end up back together or that anything will come of it, because also when we dated, the goal was marriage and kids. So everything that he did mattered a whole lot more than anything he could do now. I would say 85% of what he could do now, I would not care. Okay, have it go. That's that's your life. But back then, this our life. What you doing? This ain't our plan. This is now I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna work through that. I'm gonna let y'all know what I come up with. But on the flip side of that, I just don't feel like as much that used to be important should be important to me right now. And I feel like when you are looking to marry someone and looking to build a family, there's a lot more important things that you should be looking at. Anybody can change your destiny. It could be somebody standing in line at the grocery store can change your whole life. So it's not about that. But when you are looking to go into an actual legally binding business, familial relationship with someone, you still need to have quite a few things on your checklist. Versus somebody who would just like to be able to travel with somebody sometime and have some fun dates. And okay, I need to update my list. Okay, I don't. And I have to work through that, because again, you can't help but be attached to the list you've had. Yeah,
exactly.
So that's all you have to say about that. I'm putting my thing on mute so my dog can bark while you talk.
Now I was gonna ask you. So are you're gonna and with any situation, I mean, we're still stuck around, stuck in the house for the most part. So there's no pressure to do anything at this point.
Right.
Just do what you feel.
So you're saying, have I decided what to do with this particular person?
Right. Yeah. And then I thought about it. I was like, you don't really have to answer that question, because it doesn't really warrant an answer at this point. It's just. Well,
I actually I did make a decision though, because last year when we had a conversation and he finally admitted, I told him I was open to getting to know him again, but the onus was on him making the phone calls and pursuing me. I felt like my memory of it was that he stopped calling, stopped trying. His recollection of it, because I brought it up, I was like, well, last year you kind of fell off. You said you was trying to shoot your shot. He was like, you stopped answering the phone, whatever. I told him I don't remember that. I ain't had no missed calls. I said in my memory of it, I don't think I would have processed it to say, oh, well, he stopped trying if I know I'm not answering your phone calls.
Right.
So we had different memories of why we lost contact. Now I have decided, this is what I've decided today, whatever time it is right now, because it will change in the next 15 minutes, and you know that. I have decided that when I want to text him, or I want to call him, or I have something I want to say or share, then I'll do that. I'm not going to put the onus on, well, I hadn't heard from him, or he didn't text me, or he didn't call me. I'm going to just open his space up in the universe as someone I communicate with when I want to.
Right.
And just leave it at that for now. Because right now he's on my do not communicate regularly list, as all my exes are. So I'm going to just pull him over to the, oh, I saw this and thought it was funny list. Or, oh, look at this meme list. Just somebody you casually, like today I remembered something from back then, a pleasant memory. And so I sent him a note about it, and it'll probably start a whole nother conversation. But I don't want to talk too much. And I told you it was another episode we did was about an ex where he could not let 1993 go. I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will consciously be looking to start from today, even though we have a history.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
I think it's a decent plan. It's nothing to it.
No pressure, no expectation, Just he's on my I'm open to communicate with list.
Yeah. Perfect.
We'll let you know how that goes. You still need to keep your list legally bonded, notarized, and all the background check material.
I haven't let go of my list.
Yeah, don't let go of your list yet because you're looking to do real important stuff, and so your list still need to be real important.
Right. Yeah, my list has not changed. No. But I think there is something to the question of can I do better? There's something to ponder. When an opportunity is presented to you that may not seem as perfect, and it's not like it's hard to even explain it because it makes you sound like settling, but it's totally not.
Right, because it's not even that it's an opportunity that's presented itself that's not as perfect. It's an opportunity. You know, because I've had conversations with men my age or much older, and I think it's ridiculous that they still have pretty feet on their list of expectations or requirements for a woman their age. Because I'm like, you need to make sure she understands the signs of a stroke more so than if she got pretty toes. She didn't been on her feet for 60 years. Let her toes be, you know, whatever they are. So, I mean, I feel the same way. I have to have that conversation with myself is, who am I holding out for? Like, you know, I can hold out forever. Obviously. If I've never been married, never had kids, never been engaged, never been close to this point, obviously, settling ain't even in my DNA or an option.
Right.
You can answer. I'd be like, oh, it's a hurt.
I was laughing at her barking.
That's why I was trying to hurry to stop so you can start talking.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah. If I was down to settle, I would have settled 10 years ago.
Exactly. So settling still is not an option.
Yeah.
But I do have to be realistic and say,
right.
And this is not specific to him. It's specific in that he started that thought. Because when I called you, I said, at some point, we're going to have to say, can I stop thinking I can do better than this? It might be when we just first started. I mean, think about the last few people we tried to date and it didn't work out, it fell apart. And the reasons why. Between the two of us, none of them was so serious that they would matter for real. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It might be, I didn't like the way he talked about my pork chop. It might be his pants was too tight. It might be, I didn't like the way he acted when he had Puerto Rican rum, but none of them were like devastating.
I feel targeted for a minute. I'm like, you need to throw some of your men in there.
I was trying to think, well, mine don't ever get to the dating part. I was trying to think of somebody. I'm like, mine don't even get to the dating.
Wait, pork chop, tight pants. Wait a minute.
Them was you. But that's my point. Mine don't even get to that. You know, mine don't even materialize to even. But whatever it was, why mine have not progressed, it ain't nothing that nobody be talking about.
By the way, that Puerto Rican rum, we went into details on that on Patreon. I know the Patreon.
If you're on Patreon, you get all the details.
If you want to hear that detailed story,
you have to pay for that story. But it's on Patreon. Puerto Rican rum is on Patreon. But I'm saying we will be realistic. It wasn't that somebody was beating us, somebody was stealing our money, somebody was, we ain't never had them type situations. So ultimately, anybody that it did not work out with, it could work out with today if we chose to be with them today.
Yeah, could. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see once the world.
I know you ain't ready. You're like, oh well, no, not really.
That pork chop, I still got PTSD from that.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's my point is we get traumatized by maybe small things. So it's not so much we might be too sensitive.
I agree that could be the case, but I just if I can't have a 1-day conversation with you without you being passive aggressive, that's just who you are.
Okay, but let's say that. That's just who you are. It's a lot of people are married to for 50 years, passive aggressive people.
And I would be miserable in that spot.
Or you could just say, you know what, he passive aggressive, that's how he do.
It's one thing to fall in love with someone for who they are. You don't even give me a chance to fall in love with you before you show your passive aggressive side. I'm like, well, what do I have to hold on to?
Okay, so let's say with you being petty. And he said, man, she petty. Okay, he can still love you for the next 50 years and just know she petty. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I'm usually not so petty in the beginning. I like to show my good side. I wasn't petty with you.
And we have on tape that you don't show your good side when you date somebody. We have that on tape.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I really actually do try. I do try.
But my point is,
I try not to say
have personality traits that would be something that somebody else is just going to have to live with. So I'm saying maybe we're going to have to figure out how to live with somebody else's personality traits.
Yeah, but when you
I'm saying just because people end up together, don't
mean you act like a teenage girl, that's not cute, and I'm not ever going to live with that.
I'm gonna write down the check on you at 45. Follow up after her 45th.
Oh, child. Oh, child. I need to get to know you before. Like, I am not gonna like you unless I get to know you.
But that's what I'm saying. I think in our dating, those personality traits turn us off to the point that we don't even get to the parts that we would like and be able to forgive the parts we don't like. And we keep saying nobody's perfect. We're not perfect. Somebody's going to have to deal with us and our stuff too. But I think we just don't we don't stick in there long enough to get to the parts that's going to say, yeah, he is passive aggressive.
And you know why? Because our life's too good without that.
And that's the problem. And that's why I said, when I say I can't do no better, I'm saying better is here. But I'm saying as far as companionship, having a companion. And when I think of companion right now in my life, I think of somebody I can talk to, somebody I can laugh with, someone I can travel with, someone I can experience new things with. That's what I see.
I agree. But I mean, and it's not like I've not had people, there are crazies in the world. So you're going to meet some that are just people you're not supposed to, interact with at all. But there are people that I communicate with or have communicated with that we've gotten past that. You know what I mean? We're on, we're able to have a conversation and go out. And I don't know about going out right now, but so I know all is not lost, is what I'm saying. And I think that there is a way to connect with someone without showing your crazy ass.
We ain't figured it out.
Men have shown me that, so I know there's a way to do that. So I don't know.
We all have it. And I just feel like, and like I said, as I'm getting older and paying more attention to what's important and what's the plan, I'm realizing that there are going to always be personality traits of a man that I'm going to feel like.
I don't disagree with that. But you got to let me get to it.
And he's going to be somewhere talking to his friends about mine too. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say, okay, and then where we going? And then what time we going to be there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a good example of that is wondering how long is Andrew going to be able to put up with Molly's personality
right.
It's acting in public. Because he's a cool, chill dude. And so far, he's taking her with that. He hadn't broken up with her yet, even though he has seen her exhibit that behavior on a couple of occasions.
Right.
At some point, either he's going to say, hey, the fact that you do that ain't cool. Is she going to alter the behavior and they'll be fine? Or he's going to say, I don't like that, I don't like you. Or he's just going to know sometime his girlfriend's going to pop off in public.
Yeah.
And that's how people are. They just say, oh, yeah, that's how she is. Or, oh, yeah, watch this. Don't worry about it. That's it. And people just make allowances for the people they love.
Yeah.
So good luck with that. Let us know what y'all think. Make sure you comment. We really do want to know your thoughts. I guess the onus of this is a couple of ideas of this. Is it, I think we've done one before. Is it ever okay to dig in the trash for love? But also when you need to reevaluate that list and,
we love to hear from you guys.
You need to stop thinking you can do better. That's probably the name of the episode.
Right. We love to hear from you guys. I don't know if you noticed, a lot of people on our Facebook page had some stuff to say about the last week's episode, because we had talked about the dating apps and stuff like that. Tinder apparently does not have that stigma for everybody. As far as being a hookup site, so that may be something we may want to consider. I don't know.
Okay.
One viewer did tell us, or listener did tell us that she knows a few people that have gotten married off Tinder. So let me
tell you, I actually, since last week in our discussion about Bumble, which is the one we primarily on, I joined Hinge, which I actually have no idea how to work it.
Okay. Somebody mentioned Hinge too. They had a bad experience, but we're all gonna have a bad experience.
Friendly for me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we appreciate y'all's input and keep it up, because that actually helps us make sure.
It does. It actually does. And make sure you share and comment and like and subscribe and all that jazzy stuff. We so appreciate y'all. Don't forget, you can watch this same episode on YouTube if you're listening on your podcast apparatus, or just keep listening to us. We love to talk to you wherever we can find you right now. We appreciate it. Oh No Girl Yes is the podcast. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, and YouTube. That's it, right? I can't wait till next week, because I feel like next week will be a whole new update, since I have reformulated and opened my mind and only feeding in new ideas for me. I'm feeding myself new ideas for me. And I will say in closing, I feel a little bit lighter now that I have opened myself up to the idea of, like I said, just putting him on my contact list.
You free yourself in that way. It's a freedom of sorts.
A freedom, a mental freedom. We're gonna try to maintain that. But again, check back next week, or shoot, really 15 minutes from now, check. We'll see what happens. Oh no, he didn't.
Girl, yes, he did.